What's up and welcome to my guitar channel. I had a recent issue come up and it kind of surprised me. I started noticing tension coming up in my playing. Now this piece of music that I was practicing, effectively I consider it to be fun and engaging, like I do need to pay attention, but I don't necessarily consider it hard. I'd get to the end of the passage and I'd say, I didn't really play that well, I'm noticing tension, I'm playing it pretty sloppily, I need to do it again. And I'd do it again at the same speed. I'd get to the end and I'd think, that was even worse, I've now got more tension, I'm not doing enough with this hand. I need to do more with this hand. So I do it and really focus on making sure that I'm putting all the effort into my fretting hand, and what do you know, I'd have more tension at the end. I do this 4 or 5 times and I realize that, hey, I'm too tired to do any more work. So I stopped practicing for that day. Fast forward to the next day and I pretty much did the exact same thing. Now I feel like this is a fairly common approach. We guitarists just sit there and go, okay, I can't do it, I could do it yesterday, or I should be able to play this tempo. And instead of going at it in a practical, sane way, we just try and brute force things through. More often than not, brute forcing something is not gonna make it work. You can't just add more weight and push harder, and then all of a sudden your guitar playing's perfect. And with that in mind, I just simply devised a plan to be able to get past this. The next day, I printed off more than 24 double-sided pages, which consists of an entire song of Polyphia, a whole bunch of exercises, and different passages and ideas for guitar, so that I could get my head out of the rut. If you don't believe me, here's the pile. Smooth. I decided to slow everything down and focus on playing smoothly, and in turn, within about 30 minutes of actual practice, I was already able to play that passage that I was struggling with and causing me all this tension faster and cleaner than I had a couple of days prior. If you've been playing guitar for a long time, or you've attempted to master pretty much anything else, you may have noticed that at first, when you're learning, you're trying to learn all the new techniques and get them under your fingers or under whatever. And over time, you start to see that the techniques mean nothing without the principle underneath. With that in mind, this is my first video in what will be a new series on my principles of guitar. The first principle is relaxation. My personal vocabulary for relaxation is to play things smoothly or cleanly, because that implies that you're not forcing anything. Really, that's another way to describe this. It's, are you forcing something? Forcing brings tension. If you're not forcing it, then you're not playing with tension. And that's the biggest thing that differentiates these. Now, I know other teachers have their own way of saying this, and that's fine. That's on them, and that works for them. Brilliant. But quite honestly, most of my critiques come from identifying tension in someone else's playing and addressing that. To put it simply, if you are not playing with a relaxed attitude, everything is going to work worse. But Jake, like, how am I supposed to play this run really fast without tension? Start by chilling the f out. Just because it's fast doesn't mean you need to force it. It doesn't mean you need to push. The passage that I was talking about at the start of the video and then played for you was only messing me about because I was rushing. I was trying to force myself to play faster than I was comfortable playing. I never took the time to slow it down, get very comfortable with it, and slowly speed it up. Yes, I do need to pay attention, but no, I don't want to be reaching out to try and grab this solo. I want the solo to be here and comfortable with me and flowing from me. Okay, it's a very different perspective, but it gives you an idea on the difference of approach. Once you can play whatever passage in a relaxed way, then you speed it up. There should be no changes in technique, no pressure differences on the fretboard, nothing. It should be identical except just faster. Think about it like a record. If you put your finger on a record as it's playing, to slow it down, both the tempo and the pitch will drop at equal rates. Equally, if you speed it up, both the pitch and the tempo will raise together. If you've got tension, it means you slow down, you get relaxed, you get loose. When you speed up, you get tight, you get tense, everything squeezes together. However, if we take that same song and with our fancy new WAV file and put it in our computer, we can then increase the tempo, and the only thing that changes is the speed in which it's played. The pitch does not change. Equally, you slow it down, the pitch doesn't change. Once again, to remind everyone the analogy, the pitch is our technique. If our technique doesn't change no matter what speed we're playing at, we're always going to be smooth, we're always going to be relaxed, we're always going to be comfortable, and it's always going to sound the way that we want it to without hurting ourselves. But what about like bending or something? Because I don't know how you could do bending without tension. Yes, you need to use muscles to bend a string. You need to use muscles to press a string. But it's how much muscle do you need? When I was in uni, I was discussing with a friend, his piano teacher told him to rest his finger on a piano key and press it with his other finger to feel how much pressure was needed. Like this.
Drum.
Not.
Drum.
Drum, 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 drum.
Got it? If you're to do that on guitar, the concept is the same, we just need to modify it just a little bit. So here, I'm just hitting this string and gonna press as lightly as I can until the string sounds. I'm using so little pressure to get that done. Practice like that, pressing as lightly as you can. So instead of trying to press the string into the fretboard, what you want to do is just guide the string. See how it feels on your finger as lightly as possible until it starts making an actual sound. The same applies for bending strings. Remember that the motion is we're either pushing up towards our face or pulling down towards our feet. We're not forcing the string into the fretboard at the same time. That's once again, very light, and then you pull the string up across the face of the guitar. Just a side note, when you're practicing bending, practice with intention, practice with purpose. You don't want to sit there and just do wild, random bends that don't go to a pitch, because they sound terrible. Have a purpose. Right, and do it slowly. Now, do not take this to mean that relaxation means to be lazy. Laziness is not acceptable. This takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of hard work to get it done right. Laziness is opening the door to tension. You need to make clear, concise, and accurate actions to make sure that you're achieving the desired result without tension. Totally different to laziness. I genuinely had a hard time choosing the word relaxation for this video because non-tension is probably a more accurate description of what I'm trying to convey. With all that in mind, pay more attention to yourself. Where does tension creep in? Wherever it's there, go slow, play smooth, just relax. See how you can do this in a relaxed way. This video is one thing that I wish I could just insert into the brains of every human on the planet, because tension is such a killer. If you ever think that a passage needs tension, you're creating a roof for yourself that is going to trip you up in the future. I would highly recommend approaching it in a way that doesn't have tension and see if you can get the same result. If you don't believe me, look at all the best players on the planet. Guthrie Govan, Steve Vai, Andy James, Tim Henson, Tosin Abasi. Everything that they play is ridiculously smooth, clear, and clean. And whatever you're trying to play that you think needs tension, every single one of those guitarists would have a different way to approach that passage in their own unique style that has no tension and yet still gets the musical message across. So I hope that helps shed some light. These videos, I don't actually expect these principal ones to be too common because it's just more as they come up and as I feel a real drive to share them. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot, and I will see you next week with more things about music. And yes, for anyone that is curious, the Polyphia chart that I mentioned, I am working on another Polyphia tutorial, which should be here in some amount of time because the songs are difficult. So yeah, I will see you next week with more stuff. Catch you then. Stay smooth and clean and relaxed. Bye.